consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music.
But here's what Terrence didn't say on that podcast. He knew something darker, something about a little girl, something about where she ended up.
I think that, he brainwashed those kids, and that's what narcissists and people of his caliber do.
Why was Puffy like little boys? Why was they so close? Why is he so close like that's his boyfriend instead of his daddy?
And then Jaguar Wright connected the final dot, the one that changes everything.
There are 3 women I know right now in my life. They've been in my life for 6 years. I've been caring for them for 3 years. I got them off of Epstein Island. I cannot say where they are in the world. What I can say is when they got into the boat, they were roughed.
Wow.
Want to know how they ended up on Epstein Island?
Please.
They auditioned to be models for music videos.
Oh, casting couch.
When they got to Miami, they had to show and turn over their ID, and they collected their passports, and then they drugged them.
Was Ava one of those 3? Did Diddy sell a little girl he introduced to millions on Instagram Live into Jeffrey Epstein's network? This is what Terrence Howard and Gene Deal are hinting at. This is the story the industry has been running from. And we're about to connect every single thread. Let's rewind to 2020. The world is locked down. Everyone's losing their minds. And one of the most powerful men in entertainment decides to make a shocking announcement on Instagram Live. Diddy adopted a child, not through an adoption agency, not through courts, not through judges or social workers or any legal framework designed to protect kids. He just announced it live to millions of people.
So, I was on the streets, and then Papa decided that he would like to be a caring man. So then he saw me and decided to pick me up and said to come inside and play with his kids.
Yeah. Listen to that phrasing. He saw me on the streets. No adoption agency, no legal paperwork, no oversight, just Sean Combs walking past a girl, deciding she belonged to him, and announcing it to the world. But Gene Deal, the man who stood closest to Diddy for years, the bodyguard who was in every room at every party, watching every door, had a different perspective on what was really happening. According to Gene, this adoption was never about charity. It was strategy, cold, calculated, narcissistic strategy.
Auditioned to be models for music videos.
Oh, casting couch.
When they got to Miami, they had to show and turn over their ID, and they collected their passports, and then they drugged them.
Gene didn't name Ava, but he was describing a pattern, a method, the exact same method that pulls girls into the system, and Ava fit the profile perfectly. She was vulnerable, she was young, she had no legal status in Diddy's household, no parents present, no lawyer, no protection, just a girl who called a powerful man Papa Combs. Now, what makes the adoption video even more suspicious is the framing. Look at who's present. Diddy's sons, Justin and Christian, are front and center, but Ava specifically asked to play with his daughters. So where are they?
I adopted you because I felt that you could, enjoy also having a black parent to take care of you and help you out.
It's a strange thing to emphasize. Why specify that she needs a black parent? And why are his sons there instead of his actual daughters? Gene Deal has a theory. He says Diddy doesn't raise children like a father. He raises them like a collector, like a man who needs to own people completely. And when you look back at that video, when you really watch Ava's body language, her discomfort, the way she's looking around the room, it doesn't feel like a celebration. It feels like an introduction. An introduction to what? We'll get to. But first, you need to understand the blueprint, because Ava's story didn't start in 2020. It started in 1970s, Harlem, before the money, before the fame, before the Bad Boy Records logo meant something to every person on the planet. Janice Combs, Diddy's mother, hosted adult parties in the family home. With children in the house, Gene Deal confirmed it. Rolling Stone verified it. This was the original template, the foundational blueprint for everything that came later. And according to Gene, it never changed. It just got bigger.
That's what narcissists and people of his caliber do.
Why was he puffy like little boys? Why was they so close? Why is he so close like that's his boyfriend instead of his daddy? It's just a lot of weird.
Gene is describing a system, a method of control that starts early and gets deeper every year. And the children, the ones who grew up inside this world, they absorbed the language, the manipulation tactics, the way you break people down until they no longer trust their own perception of reality. This is important because Ava wasn't the only child inside Diddy's house. His biological children were there too. And according to witnesses, something deeply wrong was happening behind closed doors. Freddie P., who watched Quincy from the outside, saw something that disturbed him.
But why was he puffy like little boys? Why was they so close? Why is he so close like that's his boyfriend instead of his daddy? It's just a lot of weird.
A boyfriend dynamic. That's the language Freddie P. used. And Gene Deal uses that exact same word when describing the pattern running through Diddy's life. Romantic, professional, familial, the same possessiveness, the same erasure of appropriate boundaries. Terrence Howard was hinting at this too. He wasn't just talking about his own experience, he was describing a pattern, a system where Diddy allegedly preys on vulnerable men in moments when they're most exposed, breaking them down, robbing them of their sense of self.
Approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction.
Now apply that same pattern to a child. Apply that same system of control, isolation, and psychological manipulation to someone with no frame of reference for what normal looks like. Someone who grew up calling him Papa. Gene Deal says this is how Diddy operates. He doesn't love people, he collects them, he owns them, and once you're in his orbit, he doesn't let you out. The question is, what was Ava's role in this collection? Why was she singled out? And why did she disappear the moment federal agents walked through the door? In March 2024, federal investigators raided Diddy's homes. They found over 1,000 bottles of baby oil in the same spaces where children played and slept. They arrested him on multiple counts. The indictment expanded. The charges multiplied. And Ava Baron Combs vanished. No social media posts, no public appearances, no statement from her family, no explanation from the Combs camp. She simply ceased to exist. Her Instagram, which had been at Ava Baron, was deleted. Her mother went silent. Her photos, which had been everywhere in Diddy's feed for years, disappeared overnight.
Saying she could potentially be a witness for the government if she observed any of this criminal conduct. That's something that we're thinking about.
This is the official explanation. Ava disappeared because she's a protected witness. The government is keeping her safe. She'll testify at trial. But Terrence Howard knows something else, and Gene Deal's hints suggest something far darker. The timeline matched, the age matched, the description matched, and when people overlaid the photos of Ava as she appeared with Diddy's twins next to the age progression photo of the missing girl from Texas, something clicked.
The age progression photo seems to be a pretty close match. Ava Grace was reportedly abducted by her mother, Catherine Ann Baldwin. There were then, of course, the pictures of her with Diddy's twins, since she was very small, around the age of Ava Grace when she disappeared.
Now there's no official confirmation, no law enforcement statement, no mainstream media touching this, but the internet does what mainstream media refuses to do. It looks at the pattern, and the pattern is this: a girl disappears from the public eye. Her mother goes silent. Her photos vanish from social media. And then someone like Jaguar Wright, someone who personally knows 3 victims rescued from Epstein Island, drops this bomb.
They auditioned to be models for music videos.
Oh, casting couch.
When they got to Miami, they had to show and turn over their ID, and they collected their passports, and then they drugged them. And then the next thing you know, they were in a storage container getting fucked by a bunch of weird strangers on camera who were bidding for all of the terrible things that were happening to them live online.
Cast couch, modeling auditions, passport collection, drugs, a storage container, strangers bidding live. This isn't speculation. This is Jaguar describing the mechanism of human the exact system used by the Epstein network. And Jaguar says she personally rescued 3 victims from this system. 3 women she's been caring for. 3 people who came through this exact pipeline. Is Ava one of those 3? Gene Deal isn't directly saying it, but listen to how carefully he's phrasing his accusations. They had the same guest list: Hollywood Hills, Caribbean islands, private planes. The same men flew between both worlds. The same transactions took place. The same recordings were kept as leverage. Gene Deal describes this system as systematic, deliberate, narcissistic. He's not using using those words lightly. Something else entirely. That's the phrase that matters. Not parental, not mentorship, something designed to control, to own, to exploit. And Jaguar Wright goes deeper. She describes the actual mechanics of how this system works. Not just the abuse, but the infrastructure that keeps it running across decades.
Okay? There's contracts for codes within that person, so they can take a remote and turn that person off. Britney Spears, when they want to. Lindsay Lohan, when they want to. Amanda Bynes, when they want to. Okay? So let's say there's a contract.
This isn't metaphorical. This is describing MK Ultra, mind control, the systematic breakdown of autonomy and resistance. It's the same system that kept high-profile victims silent for decades. The same system that explains why certain powerful people walked into those parties with reputations intact. This is where Terrence Howard's revelation becomes crucial, because Terrence wasn't just talking about his own experience. He was hinting at something deeper, a network, a system, a process where vulnerable people are lured in, broken down, and turned into assets. Freak-offs. That's the term used in the federal indictment. Not parties, not gatherings, freak-offs. Elaborate, produced performances, recorded, archived, used as leverage. And according to Jaguar Wright, these weren't just performances, they involved children. They involved drugs designed to make them obedient, compliant, present in body, but absent in resistance. They called them party favors.
There's life-size wheels that people attach children to and spin it and decide who's having sex in what way. There are so many things. There's body cakes, there's party favors. And I'm talking like, you know how you put up a little birthday bag, like when you go to a birthday party, and before you can leave, you can take one of those little birthday bags off the table. And then there's toys and like all this stuff for coming to the party. Yeah.
Party favors. Children described as objects, as party favors. This is the language of trafficking. This is the language of the Epstein network. And Ava walked into this house, a child with no paperwork, no legal protection, no one documenting what happened inside those walls. And it culminated in a system so dark, so complex, so deliberately constructed that even now, with federal indictments and arrests and victims coming forward, mainstream media is afraid to follow the thread all the way to the end, because the end leads to an island, a network, a system that connects Diddy to Epstein, and a little girl who was introduced on Instagram Live and then made to disappear. Here's what we know. Ava Baron Combs was brought into Diddy's house through Kim Porter's family, the most trusted inner circle. She spent years with Diddy's biological children. She was present at parties, sleepovers, private family moments. She had access to everything. And then, the moment federal agents arrived, she vanished. Now, the official story is that she's a protected witness, that the government is keeping her safe, that she'll testify at trial. But Terrence Howard and Gene Deal are hinting at something different. Terrence posted videos threatening to spill everything. He hinted that he was being threatened by powerful people. He added the hashtag #mancard, the same phrase he used on the podcast to describe what Diddy allegedly steals from people.
And if you're going to speak against me, then use the same courage that it took for me to say those truths. Man to man, eye to eye, integrity and in truth. I've spent a lifetime earning the right to speak with the conviction about these truths that I speak. So if you want to tear that down, have the decency to come and say it directly to my face. And say it like a man.
Terrence wasn't just talking about himself. He was signaling that he knows something about what happened to Ava, something that made him willing to fight, willing to die by his own words. But Gene's hints are clear. Diddy brainwashes, he collects, he owns. He breaks people down until they no longer know who they are. And the system he built isn't contained to one house or one city. It's networked. It's connected to other powerful men operating similar systems. And somewhere in that network, between the freak-offs and the party favors and the recordings kept as leverage, and the 3 victims Jaguar says she personally rescued from Epstein Island, there's a girl who used to call him Papa Combs when they got to the boat that belongs to the island where unspeakable things happen in the dark. Is Ava one of those 3? Jaguar won't say. She can't say. For the same reason Gene Deal speaks carefully. For the same reason Terrence threatens to die before he's silenced. Because the truth about where Ava ended up is connected to something bigger. Something that involves not just Diddy, but the entire network of powerful men who benefited from her being invisible, from her having no legal status, from her parents being silenced. And here's the thing that should terrify everyone everyone paying attention. Ava is not unique. She's the most visible case because Diddy was arrogant enough to announce her adoption on Instagram Live. But according to Gene Deal, according to Jaguar Wright, according to Terrence Howard, there are others. Other children brought into these worlds through trusted channels. Other kids with no paperwork. Other people who disappeared when the cameras turned away. Gene Deal hinted at this when he started talking about Diddy's other children, about how Christian and Justin are now named in lawsuits for allegedly continuing their father's patterns, about how the twins, Diddy's biological daughters, disappeared from public view at crucial moments, about how the cycle repeats generation to generation because the people who could stop it are either complicit or too frightened to speak. And Terrence Howard, when he talks about how he refused Diddy's advances, when he describes the consequences of saying no, he's describing exactly the kind of power dynamic that traps people. Because the moment you say no to Diddy, you're marked. You're a threat. You're someone who knows too much. And the people who do say yes, the people who comply, the people who get lured into those parties thinking there's opportunity, thinking there's connection, thinking it's a door to something bigger.
Like, oh, okay, now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands-off with somebody.
Those people either disappear or become part of the system. They become the leverage, they become the recorded moments that ensure eternal silence. So as this trial unfolds, as lawyers and judges and jurors sit in courtrooms listening to testimony about freak-offs and party favors and recordings kept as leverage, there's one question nobody in mainstream media is brave enough to ask out loud. The question that Terrence Howard knows. The question that Gene Deal is carefully dancing around. The question that Jaguar Wright answered when she talked about rescuing 3 victims from Epstein Island. That's the story, not just about Ava, but about an entire system built on silence, built on recordings kept in dark clouds, built on powerful men protecting other powerful men because they're all connected. They all have something to lose. They all know what's on those tapes. And when Ava finally testifies, if she testifies, when she finally sits in that courtroom and describes what really happened inside that house, what happened when she wasn't around the cameras, what happened on the island if she was taken there, everything changes. Until then, we're left with questions. We're left with hints from people brave enough to speak in riddles. We're left with Terrence Howard threatening duels, Gene Deal speaking carefully, Jaguar Wright describing 3 rescued victims, and a little girl who once called a man Papa Combs and then simply disappeared. If you believe Diddy should face justice for everything he's allegedly done, not just to women, but to children, not just in his house, but in a network that extends to islands and private planes and recording studios hidden behind NDAs, hit that subscribe button, because when Ava's story finally comes out, when that testimony hits the public, the internet is going to break, and we'll all be sitting in the same moment, watching the moment everything changes. Until then, keep watching, keep asking questions, and don't let this story disappear from your feed the way Ava disappeared from Instagram Live.